Coming up next on Bear News, we've got information on this year's election candidates.
Coming up in sports, it's the halfway point in the Big Sky Conference, so I'll have updates on the Bears and how they're doing later on.
And I've got your trick or treat forecast coming up in weather.
We've got all that and more on this episode of Bear News. Stay tuned. For joining us on Bear News. I'm Emily Carr.
And I'm Kristen Scovilage. Greeley voters will decide whether the city's current mayor deserves another term in this fall's city election. That's just one of several local races that are up for grabs. Incumbent Mayor Tom Norton is running for another 4-year term. His opponent is local community organizer Prescilla Resendiz. 3 Greeley City Council seats are up for election, depending on where you live. Environmental activist Mark Schrieben is running for the at-large council seat against incumbent Sandy Elder. The Ward 2 council seat will be a newcomer. 4 candidates want the job. They are Frank Garcia, Neil Chikazawa, Patrick Wardell, and Randy Slight. The seat is open after incumbent Donna Sapienza announced she wouldn't seek re-election. Only 1 candidate is running for the Ward 3 council seat. Incumbent John Gates is running unopposed for another term. School District 6 will see at least 2 new faces on its board following this election. Incumbent Scott Rankin and Linda Tramberger are not seeking re-election. Current board members Pallery Mann and Roger DeWitt were appointed to fill unexpired terms and are seeking re-election to full 4-year terms. 6 other candidates are also seeking one of the 4 available seats. Those 6 are Stephen R. Hall, Donna L. Donnie, Ron Bretcheisen, John W. Hafeli, Logan Mahan, and Rhonda Solis. 2 seats are up for election on the Ames Community College Board of Directors. Ray Peterson and Lewis Beard are vying for one of the seats, while Larry Wood is running unopposed for the other. Greeley voters will also decide whether current city manager Roy Otto will be retained in his position.
November 5th marks the end of the campaign elections here in the city of Greeley. However, not many UNC students know much about the 2 candidates running for a spot to be mayor. Bear News had the chance to sit down one-on-one with Prescilla Resendiz and Tom Norton to learn more on this year's candidates.
Tom Norton and Prescilla Resendiz are up for election for mayor of Greeley next month. Jocelyn Acosta Martinez had a chance to sit down with both candidates.
One of the things that I want to really concentrate on getting done in the next couple of years is a high-class hotel downtown. I think Greeley needs that as a place for small conventions and a place for people to stay that want to come to our performing arts facilities downtown. That also assists the university in that we can have a really nice place for people to stay, the parents that want to come see their kids, parents weekends, athletic events, those kinds of things.
My top priority is public transportation. I didn't think that that's what it would be when I was knocking doors, but I promise you, from all walks of life, everybody seems to have an issue with our public transportation system. It doesn't run 7 days a week. It stops on Sundays, it's limited hours on Saturdays, and during the week it stops at 6:30 at night. So if you want to go to school at night, or if you have a job that you need to get to at night, you're not going anywhere.
The university has always been one of those that people say we ought to be more of a university town or university city. And I understand that, and I think we've been successful. And you know, we kind of like the university and the product that it has, so we'd like to have some students stay here, because we think it would be a good asset to our community as a whole.
one of the things I'd like to do with UNC is figure out how we can get some sort of grant program or scholarship opportunities for people to want to reinvest here in the community. So I'm not a big fan of UNC students leaving and going somewhere else to pursue their educational degree. I'd love for people to come to UNC and fall in love with the city and want to make it their home.
They do need to be able to do drilling and fracking under the property and get the minerals that are out and pay the royalties to the university.
I think what we need to be doing with fracking is just making sure we have educated people to understand the impacts and just create a balance so that we don't hurt ourselves revenue-wise, but we're also making sure that we're incorporating the standards that protect people. And that's what I'd like to do.
Elections are on November 5th, so don't forget to go out and vote. Reporting on behalf of Jocelyn Acosta Martinez, I'm Paul Ford, Bear News.
Both candidates are working their hardest to win each community member's vote.
Besides choosing between candidates, Greeley voters will help determine the fates of 2 statewide ballot measures and help decide if Weld County secedes from Colorado. One measure would amend the Constitution to raise taxes by nearly $1 billion, while the other is a statutory measure that would impose a 15% excise tax on recreational marijuana. The Colorado General Assembly referred Amendment 66 to voters in an effort to overcome the effects of TABOR, the Taxpayer Bill of Rights passed by voters in 1992. Amendment 66 would increase state income taxes by $950 million and devote the increase to public education. That would increase the amount spent funding K-12 education by about 16.5%. The amendment would raise the extra money by upping personal income taxes from the current 4.63% to 5% for those making up to $75,000 a year. The rate of incomes more than $75,000 a year would jump to 5.9%. The amendment would also allow the General Assembly to adjust the income threshold for the income tax increment for inflation. Opponents say that language guts the TABOR requirements, which force the government officials to seek voter approval for tax increases and require refunds if collected taxes exceed amounts generated by inflation and population growth. Measure 66 also requires that at least 43% of state income sales and excise tax revenue go to pay for schools. The other tax proposal before voters would impose a 15% excise tax on recreational marijuana in Colorado. Also referred by the state legislature, this statutory measure would also impose a 10% sales tax on marijuana sales. That sales tax would be in addition to any other state and local sales tax that would apply. Lawmakers expect the new taxes to generate $70 million in additional state revenue. The first $40 million would be dedicated to public schools construction. The measure would not tax medical marijuana sales. Proponents argue that taxes will help rebuild and repair crumbling public schools. Opponents argue that the tax is so high it will force sales to the black market. Greeley residents will also vote on a proposal to join officials from other counties to leave Colorado and form a 51st state. Weld County Commission members approved submitting the measure to voters. If passed, it would direct Weld officials to join with leaders from 10 other mainly northern Colorado counties to explore leaving the state and forming another. Proponents say that they're tired of not having an effective voice in the Colorado legislature. Disgruntled Colorado residents aren't the only ones looking at seceding from their states. Activists in Northern California are once again pursuing seceding and forming their own state, as are activists in Western Maryland. Even if voters pass the measure in all 11 Colorado counties, it wouldn't mean the new state is a go. The U.S. Congress would have the final say.
The Center for Peer Education is a student-run organization that promotes healthy lifestyle choices in a college environment. Last week, CPE hosted several events on campus to raise alcohol awareness among students as part of a National Collegiate Alcohol Awareness Week. One of the more popular events, Did You Notice Me Last Night, was a live art demonstration that depicted the dangers and consequences of drinking irresponsibly. Alcohol Awareness Week came to a close on Friday with a race against addiction. This final event focused on the long-term health risks that excessive drinking can bring on. For a better understanding of how alcohol can impact your body and health, visit the Center for Peer Education website at www.unco.edu/CPE.
Well, tonight is Halloween, and you might be wondering how much you need to bundle up to go out trick-or-treating. Bear News meteorologist Paul Ford has your first look at weather to tell you if you might need to rethink your costume idea. Paul?
Thanks, Kristen. We'll get to that, but right now it's 50 degrees outside, 35% humidity, and there's calm winds out there, so it's a pretty nice day out there. But before we get to tonight, we're going to go forward to this weekend, as it is the end of daylight savings time on Saturday night at 2 in the morning. So at 2 in the morning, set your clocks back to 1 in the morning, and we will be getting 1 extra hour of sleep. I'm sure we'll all be rejoicing about that. Coming up in weather, though, we'll have your Halloween forecast, but first, back to you guys.
Thanks, Paul. Coming up after the break, we'll tell you how UNC students have their Halloween traditions.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you a little too frightened by the usual scary movies of Halloween? Would you rather see a movie that's going to make you laugh? Well, if this sounds like you, entertainment reporter Estelle Plaguet has the movie for you. Estelle?
Yes, Kristen. Johnny Knoxville turns everything he touches into a rock and roll mess. So not surprisingly, the superstar's latest production is hilarious. Bad Grandpa features off-the-wall characters and a very nutty scenario. Billy, played by Jackson Nicole, is a very unlucky kiddo. His mother is going to jail, and his crazy grandpa Irving, played by Knoxville himself, doesn't really want to take care of him. The only thing he wants is actually to enjoy his widowhood by getting drunk and going to striptease clubs. Both of them therefore embark on a road trip to reach North Carolina, where Billy's dad, a sleazy man, lives, with Grandma Buddy in the trunk, of course. The audience can enjoy a wide range of saucy pranks worthy of the Jackass crew. 8-year-old Billy adopts inappropriate behaviors under the influence of Irving. The awkward and disturbed 86-year-old man is one of Knoxville's most interesting roles, and a classic character already featured in the Jackass movies and TV shows. The best part of it, almost all the movie is filmed on hidden camera, showing people's outrage or embarrassed reactions. The fans of Jackass won't be disappointed, and you will never see a vending machine the same way again.
Thanks, Estelle. What happens when Halloween meets the 21st century? Well, Bear News meteorologist Paul Ford shows us what spooky tricks he has up his sleeve in this week's App Wrap.
First up is an app called True Ghost Stories from Around the World. This app provides new ghost tales daily from people who claim for them to be real. You can search their library of thousands of stories or check their top 10 for an easy way to see their best stories as rated by users. Are they real or are they not? That's for you to find out. Next up is a creepy camera app called Zombie Booth. Zombie Booth lets you take a picture of yourself and turn you into someone straight from the zombie apocalypse. All it needs is to recognize your eyes and mouth, and you're done. Scroll through the several presets it gives you and record a video to terrify all of your friends. Just like that, you become
a monster.
Thanks, Paul. Be sure to check those out for tonight.
Is Halloween a big deal for the Bears? Or is the famous trick-or-treat tradition not as appropriate anymore in college? Bear News reporter Estelle Plaguet and Daniel Rodriguez went for a walk around campus to see what UNC students had to say.
In the eve of Halloween, all the students follow their usual routine, but tomorrow night, ghosts and zombies will disrupt the peacefulness of the campus. Let's hear what the Bears have to say about it.
You know, I always growing up, I trick-or-treated with my sister, so that always brings up memories of when I was younger. But now it's just fun, seeing everyone dress up and have a good time.
Actually, I didn't even prep for my costume this year. I just am using an old one, and then for the zombie crawl, I just bought the makeup.
We took the grandkids down to Centennial Village, and we dressed like a cowboy, and you went trick-or-treating, and they had some cute games, little fishing games and stuff.
And what about the international students?
Maybe I meet with all the international students, and we go to Barkraula, zombie Barkraula.
Here is like a happy big party, kind of, and in Spain it's completely the opposite. Like people is like a sad day, people stay at home.
If students are looking for some Halloween activities, they can visit UNC's website to see all the Halloween themed events taking place. Did you know that UNC offers free dance classes? It's true. Last week's class was crumping. Yes, I said crumping. UNC Dance Alliance is a student-ran organization which offers the opportunity to choreograph or take a dance class. You do not have to be part of the dance or theater program to participate. There are various types of classes that are offered throughout the week, depending on what genre the student choreographer decides to teach. Last week, Maya Landau, a UNC musical theater major, set up a workshop with certified crumper instructor Dylan Sheenbeck. Dylan began crumping in 2008 and has actually trained with the creator of crump himself, Tie-Dyes. Dylan's mission is to inspire people by passing on his skills in crumping, and he hopes it will open their eyes to the true essence of crumping. It was an honor to have Dylan visit UNC, and he will be scheduled for another class later this year. To find out more information on the Dance Alliance, as well as the class schedule, like their page on Facebook, UNC Dance Alliance 2013-2014.
This month, UNC students had a chance to show off their wall climbing skills during this year's Top Call Climbing Wall competition. Whether you are an experienced climber or not, this was the place to be to put those wall climbing skills to the test. Many UNC students got to take turns climbing and learning a few pointers from climbing wall setters. UNC students and the Greeley community were all invited to take part in this event, which went to start off the Recreational Center's canned food drive. Megan Scheibel gave more insight on what this event is all about.
So my name is Megan Scheibel. I am a setter here at the climbing wall. So the reason we're doing this is we want to raise cans for the Weld County Food Bank. It's kind of a kickoff to the Campus Rec Center's canned food drive. So we offered for students to either pay $15 or bring in 9 cans. The reason we want to do the canned food drive is so that we can donate it all to Weld County Food Bank for people who can't really necessarily afford the food for Thanksgiving. So it's kind of just like going towards our community. We really want to make an impact this year. Another reason is we want to showcase, the climbing wall, get more people involved in the climbing community, kind of create a better community in general with climbing. And we're also actually doing another climbing comp in April, which we're hoping, a lot of people can attend that one because we really want to promote climbing as a healthy lifestyle. That's going to be in April. It's April 11th. So we're kind of our main goal is to raise cans, but another minor goal is to get people involved in the climbing community and get them excited about coming to the gym and coming to our climbing wall.
Hello, Paul.
Hi, Emily.
We're all so curious what the weather is going to be like tonight for Halloween.
Well, Emily, when it comes to tonight's forecast, I'll let you know whether we're in for a trick or we're in for a treat coming up after the break. Welcome back to this special Halloween edition of Bear News. I'm meteorologist Paul Ford. Looking at the nation right now, we've got some severe weather happening throughout the southeast right now. We're seeing some thunderstorm warnings throughout Mississippi and Alabama right now. So if you're in those parts, you might want to be careful right now, as we might see some tornadic activity down there. But when it comes to temperatures around the nation right now, we've got some 50s and 60s throughout the Midwest right now. But here in Colorado, we're seeing some 40s and 50s. Around Colorado right now, we've got a little bit of shower activity just north of us in Wyoming, but otherwise in Colorado, we've got some clear skies. Temperatures right now, we've got some 30s if you're in the Aspen area, but as you head farther to the east, we've got some 50s, and head even farther to the east, and we're seeing some 60s throughout Colorado. Tonight, though, it's going to get a little chilly. We're going to be in the mid-30s throughout Colorado, and we're going to see temperatures somewhere in the teens if you're heading out to the mountains. High for today was around 52 degrees, just shy of our average of 57 degrees, but we were right on average when it came to our low. Tonight's trick or treat forecast, if you're heading out with your little ones around 6 o'clock, temperatures will be around 47 degrees, so I'd bring a light jacket. If you're heading out and about around 9 o'clock, we're going to see maybe one bit heavier jacket as temperatures will start dropping down into the upper 30s. And then if you're out at midnight, which I don't know why you would be on Halloween, temperatures will be in the mid 30s. Tomorrow's forecast, though, it will be a little warmer as we'll have temperatures in the mid-50s at about 56 degrees. Wind will be a factor tomorrow as we're seeing some north-northwest winds coming from 15 to 18 miles per hour. We're going to maybe see some gusts up to 28 miles per hour, though. And then this weekend's forecast, temperatures will steadily climb. That's been a pattern lately for these weekends here in Colorado. We'll see temperatures in the 60s on Saturday and even warmer as we head into Sunday. If you're heading to our football game at Nottingham Field against Montana State, if you're there for the tailgating, we've got temperatures in the 40s. If you're there for kickoff, temperatures will be in the mid-50s. And by the end of the game, we should be at our high of around 60 degrees. As we head into the rest of the week, we're going to see a potential chance of showers as we go into Monday, which could turn into some snow showers. As we head into Tuesday, we'll see maybe an inch of that, but it's not quite sure right now. We're seeing a little bit of scattered activity as we look at our models right now. And then as we head later into the week, temperatures will steadily climb into the 40s and into the 50s. But now we're off to Rachel Turnock with the sports.
That definitely makes me happy. It'll be nice for the football game. The UNC football team hosted the two Montanas last weekend. Find out how they did after the break. The UNC football team had their bye week last Saturday and will host Montana State at 1:40 p.m. this Saturday at Nottingham Field. Here's a look at the current Big Sky standings. Eastern Washington and Montana State are tied for first place with Northern Arizona sitting at third place, who will host the Bears on November 16th. Cal Poly sits in the middle, whom the Bears will host for their senior day, which will be the last game on November 23rd. UNC and Weber State are both 0-4 in the Big Sky and 1-7 overall. The Bears' next road trip will be at North Dakota on November 9th, who have a 1-4 Big Sky record and 2-6 overall. Back at Butler Hancock with a 3-game winning streak under their belt, the UNC volleyball team hosted Montana State last Saturday, looking for another win. With a back-and-forth battle in the first set, UNC ended it with a hit on the chest on Montana State's Nicole Baker to win it 25-18. Moving into the second set, the Bears had a team total of 13 kills, 5 of which came from Andrea Spastat, taking the Bears to win set 2. The Bears dominated the third set with back-to-back digs from Meredith Johnson, totaling 23 for the night, then again with back-to-back kills from Donay Elcock. The strong offensive efforts brought the Bears to take their victory over the Bobcats 3-0. The Bears look to extend their 4-game winning streak to 5 against Montana last Saturday for Dig Pink Night. Brianna Strong started off the game with 3 kills to give the Bears a quick 3-0 lead in the first set. The Bears went on to win that set 25-22. During this rally in the second set, Audrey Landry makes a great save to keep the play alive, setting up Kendra Cunningham to get the point. A service ace at the end of the second set by Montana's Courtney James cost the Bears. UNC bounced back and dominated the third set thanks to some good defensive efforts by Spastat. Despite 17 team kills, the Bears dropped a close 4-set 23-25. UNC kept the score close in the fifth. Spastat had 4 of her 19 kills, but the Bears' struggles in the fifth continued as they lost the match 3-2. We caught up with Spastat and head coach Lindsay Oates after the game, in which they shared their thoughts about the Bears' woes in the fifth set.
Our fifth sets, we just have to become more unpredictable, and that'll help us out, and just keep pushing and being aggressive because we're becoming so much better in our fifth sets, throughout the year. So we'll get them eventually.
I think we had a good mindset going into Game 5, and then they served us a couple tough balls and pushed us back, and I didn't like how we responded. We kind of got passive in that point, which in set 5 you just can't do.
UNC hits the road to take on Weber State tomorrow for a 7 p.m. match. It's a little over halfway through the volleyball season, so let's take a look at the Big Sky standings for volleyball. North Dakota sits up top with just 1 loss in the Big Sky Conference. Northern Arizona is in second, and Portland State right under them in third. Idaho State is in fourth, whom the Bears will travel to face this Saturday. UNC is in 7th place with a 5-7 Big Sky record and 9-13 overall. 3 spots below the Bears is Weber State, who will host UNC tomorrow. Southern Utah is in last with only 1 win in the Big Sky Conference. The UNC club hockey team tested their 7-1-1 record at the Bear Den Friday against Metro State in a thrilling overtime matchup. Let's take you on down to the action. Metro State took the early 2-1 lead with goals by Corey Johnson and Nick Lates. Brandon Punier established himself early on with a big open ice hit and continued to lay the wood throughout the game. UNC relied heavily on their power play game. They cleared every power play on defense. The Bears also scored 2 of their 3 goals with a one-man advantage. Garrett Trumer willed the puck to go in on this flick from the top of the blue line. UNC let chances to close out the game slip through their sticks and give up a late third-period goal by Dan Sheeran to allow Metro State to tie the game at 3. Bear Den let their presence be known throughout the game and exploded when 45 seconds into overtime, Kevin Garski scored to give their Bears the 4-3 win. The soccer team dominated their home game against Big Sky rival Idaho State and clinched a playoff spot in the Big Sky Championship. The first 15 minutes of the game were slightly deceiving as Idaho State put some early pressure on the Bears, but things turned around for the home team as they ended the game with a 20-6 shot advantage. Juliana Grover put the Bears on board 26 minutes into the game off of one of their 11 corner kicks the Bears had. The second half for the Bears was continuing onslaught of shots as they pressured the Bengals again and again and one more time. Whether it was just wide off the net or just off the post, the Bears let multiple goals on the field. But it wasn't all offense as goaltender Natalie Didamio made athletic saves all game with 5 blocked shots. The Bears pulled out all their tricks to make sure they qualified for the playoffs, even allowing Mallory Van Hoot to handstand throw the ball in to create more chances for the offense. The Bears won this shutout 2-0. With the win, head coach Tim Barrera is looking forward towards their #1 seeded opponent, Portland State.
We've played them at their place, so we're familiar with the stadium, the field, etc. So we'll be ready for that. And I think we've grown quite a bit since then as a team. Today we created a bunch of opportunities. That, we scored 2 and hit the bar a couple times.
Looks like the Bears will take their chances again versus Portland State for the first round of the playoffs. Before that, they will honor the seniors at senior night tomorrow at 6 p.m. against CSU for their last regular season game. The recent success of the UNC volleyball team has stemmed from a lot of the teamwork on the court, especially from sophomore Kendra Cunningham. Bear News reporter Nathan Fusco has more on the young star.
Talking to fellow teammate Andrea Spostad, number 9, who's a middle blocker, she talks about the importance of having such a young player play at a high level. So what contributes such an amazing start for being so young? Kendra would say an early start and a supportive family is all she needed. This early success was no surprise to Coach Lindsay Oates, and said they were slightly dissatisfied with Cunningham's freshman year, where she played 29 matches and only tallied 27 kills. A stark contrast from this year, which she leads the team in kills with 237 kills. That's right, 237 kills and only 21 matches.
But it's so good that the Bears have Kendra for at least another 2 years. She's a great player.
She's young. She's playing great for as young as she is.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. After the break, we've got information on the newest edition of The Claw.
Stick around. We'll be right back in 60 seconds.
Let's take a look at our Pinterest pick of the week. Trying to figure out what to be for Halloween, but you still have no clue when you're trying to fit it into your budget? Check out this do-it-yourself jelly bean costume. It's full of creativity as well as easy-to-find accessories.
Makes me want to eat some jelly beans right now. You
Yeah.
guys have any?
No, I don't, but some of these do-it-yourself costumes are very creative. And
They're cheap, too, which is the best part.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, the UNC-based magazine, The Claw, has released their first issue of the school year. The crew from The Claw was at the UC last Friday, passing out the first fall issue, hot off the press. The Claw magazine is an entertainment feature magazine with a focus on student lifestyle at UNC. Biz Gilmore, editor-in-chief, has been involved since the first publication and has been a strong force in the Claw magazine movement. Biz was happy to announce that their second year is off to a great start. The issue has some familiar faces you might recognize on the cover. Woo! Go Bear News!
It was. They did really good on the article, and it was great to see us on there.
All right, well, thanks for joining us this evening. We'll be back next week.
Until then, stay up to date on our Facebook page, Bear News 98. Be sure to like us.
Have a great week.